Any organization that is looking to build a robust and an efficient cybersecurity practice, it's very important to build a robust SOC. Now, SOC could be an intelligent setup, but at the end of the day, if a SOC is not well integrated with application practice, and also if it's not taking feeds from data security framework, I don't think any SOC will work in isolation. So during this series, we'll be able to take some inputs, some feedbacks, and some viewpoints from thought leaders from industry. These are the customers who have got a great experience in terms of building up their SOC and running their SOC successfully. So these customers will be sharing their viewpoints, and they will be helping us understand what are the key takeaways and what are the key inputs that we need to understand if we are in a position to build a SOC. The most important ingredient when you are in the process of building an efficient SOC is to build an actionable intelligence. The problem with a SOC is that when you have a multiple log source, the data is so huge, it becomes very difficult to first of all identify which are the logs which are more sensible to you, which are the logs which will have a much more higher vulnerability, and it will be very difficult to identify what are the actions that you're going to take. So it's very important to make sure that you collect logs which can help you take an intelligent call. And also it's very important to understand that the actionable intelligence had been built over the framework of the SOC that you have. Now in a SOC, real-time monitoring is the key. It is a very well saying that what is visible is what can be monitored. What can be monitored, it can be managed, and what can be managed can be protected. So you need to be very careful in terms of the combination that you shortlist, which can be a combination of a technology, manpower, and the framework, which is encapsulated with the policy for the data security. So SOC, the basic format is very simple. It has to be data centric, and when we talk about data centric approach, we talk about log source coming from application, which historically, if you see, more than 84% of the breach recently that has happened around application. And if your application is vulnerable and the major breach is happening at that front, what are the tools that you have built which could give you a real-time alerting that there is some incident that has triggered through your application? So it's a combination of application, the logs coming from application and hitting your SOC framework, and the SIEM solution that you have. It should be in a position to give you a very, very crisp intelligence which could be actionable. Otherwise, a log or a data which cannot be acted upon, it's just a garbage. So principally, the most important ingredient of building any successful SOC framework is a combination of policies. It's a combination of integration of that SIEM tool with your application, and also the combination of your data security practice. And on top of it, you need to have an assumption that what is the action that you are going to take if a data has been breached. So it's a combination of how you monitor efficiently, how effective you are in terms of finding out whether an alert is an incident or not, and if that incident is creating some threat, what are the actions that you're going to take. So these are the three framework which is very, very data centric, and the solution that we propose or we consult or we advise to our customers is absolutely in line with that. Every industry has a different use cases. Now technology is there to support the use case that you have, which is very, very specific to the problem areas or the pain areas that you have identified, and that technology is there to support you and fix that problem. But eventually, as I said, the critical logs has to be visible to you. So you need to have a very, very strong framework which could help you understand the real-time alerting, which will help you understand if an alert is an actionable alert or not, and if the incidents have been triggered, what are the actions that need to be taken. And at the time of crisis or at the time of breach, when the breach has triggered, what are the three things that you need to do? Whether you need to bring the setup down immediately, or you need to involve a couple of key stake owners who are like crisis manager for you. That will help you build a very robust, very effective, and very efficient SOC. Industry has been talking about DevOps, but from Micro Focus, we are very clear that we don't only focus on DevOps, but we talk about secure DevOps. Now, we need to understand the complete life cycle. What is the requirement to make us secure code? What is the framework that you need to build around your SDLC? So at the time when you're writing a code, at the time when the code is being converted into an application, and also at the time when the application is being tested, whether it is giving you the right business outcome or not, or at the time when it goes public or when it hits the internet. All the 4 stages of SDLCs, it's important to understand first of all how you can secure or keep the application secure at each and every stage of SDLC. The biggest problem that we have in application security, that is very fragmented. A developer writes a code, he is least bothered about whether the code is secure or not, because he has a lot of pressure to deliver the code at the right time, because business wants them to deliver that code at a specific period of time. Secondly, at the time when the code is being written and the whole code is getting converted into an application, whether the application is able to give you the right business outcome or not. In the whole course of development of this code or an application, the most important piece that leaves behind, or that gets left behind, is the security. No code or no application is foolproof or very right for a business requirement if it's not secure. So it's very important to make sure that when we are developing an application, at each and every stages of SDLC, we need to make sure that it is absolutely encapsulated with the right security. So that's the reason from Micro Focus we are very, very stringent in terms of advising our customers to take a complete secure DevOps framework. Otherwise, when you talk about 84% of breach happening around application, if you're not fixing that, and if you're taking security only at the time when the whole application is ready, it's like too much of a cost, it's like too much of a risk, and I don't think business is going to appreciate that. An application with a lot of vulnerability in the code is an invitation to a hacker to come and exploit that, and there is a huge business risk. So it's very, very important to understand that developer communities are not only there to develop a code which meets the business requirement, but also they need to be cognizant enough to make sure that they are building a secure DevOps practice. So at the time when they are building an application, the application is absolutely foolproof and secure. That will bring down the risk of an application getting breached or an application getting hacked at the time when it's generating business for an organization. During the course of this session, I think we'll have a couple of our customers who will be sharing their views in terms of what is the criticality of combining security with the DevOps practice, and what are the different stages of SDLCs where the security need to be inbuilt or encapsulated. They have the experience, they have experienced the problem that they have faced. They have been working under the pressure of business, but at the end of the day, they need to make sure that the application is secure enough and foolproof enough to not only meet their business requirement, but also meet their security requirement. Industry has been talking about DevOps for very, very long, but it's very important to understand that if a code is not secure, it's not going to give you a business outcome. But the problem is that when you're writing a code and meeting the deadline from the business, and if the code is not secure enough, at the time when it gets, it hits the internet, you are inviting too much of a trouble. Hackers are looking forward for an application which creates a lot of business, and if we see historically, I think in the last 18 months, more than 84% of the breach that has happened because of an application. So it's very important to understand that we are not only writing the right course, but we are also writing a secure course. Otherwise, DevOps doesn't make sense in isolation. If we really have to build a clear framework and a very secure framework, we need to make sure that the security has been encapsulated at each and every stage of SDLCs. So we are talking about a secure DevOps. So as we move forward, I think we have a couple of customers coming from application background, and they'll be in a better position to share their viewpoints. So it's up to us whether we are only keen in terms of meeting the deadline from the business and writing a DevOps which is not foolproof or which is not completely secure, or we are taking a cognizant view that at each and every stage we are putting an extra effort to make sure that the code is right and the code is absolutely secure. It's very important to make sure that when you write a code and when you build an application, at each and every stage we are following the security practice and the security framework and the policy that a company has designed. It will not only help you achieve your business objective, but also it will help you to maintain the security policy that you have framed for an organization. So that's very, very critical for any application to be successful and meet the business requirement as we move forward.